Spanish people always make mistakes in your pronunciation of above. You say above in many other ways. Above rhymes, rima with love. Okay? Above love. Por encima del amor. Si esto fuera, if this were not the temperature 0, but this is love. Below love, above love. It rhymes. Y la paloma de la paz is the dove of peace. Okay? La paloma está encima o por encima del amor. The dove is above love. Perfect rhyme. Okay? Don't forget. Above love and the dove. The white dove of peace. Okay. So, the temperature in Alaska can be 60 or 70 degrees below 0 in the winter in some areas, and maximum perhaps 21, 22 degrees above zero in the summer. So it's very cold. So definitely, sin lugar a dudas, without a doubt, o bien definitely, Alaska is the coldest state in the United States. What's the hottest state in the United States? Interesting question. The hottest town, the hottest municipality in the United States is a small town in West Texas called Presidio, like a prison in Spanish, presidiario, presidio. Presidio, Texas is the hottest community in the United States, but it's not the hottest state because Texas is a very big state. Texas is big. Texas is bigger than Spain, and Texas is bigger than Spain and Portugal together. It's a big state. And in some areas, it's not so hot. So Texas is not the hottest state. The hottest state in the United States is Arizona. Zona árida. Arizona. Okay. And Arizona is next to California. Arizona has a border with Mexico. The border between Arizona and Mexico is a very important border. And Mexico is between, or Arizona is between New Mexico and California. Okay, now Arizona is the hottest state. Alaska is the coldest state. Now Alaska is the biggest state in area, but the second smallest in population. Now what's the smallest state in population? The smallest state is Wyoming. How many people are there in Wyoming? There are 250,000 people in Wyoming. There are more bears than people, osos, including Yogi Bear in Yellowstone Park. Okay? So, Wyoming, the most important city in Wyoming is Cheyenne, Cheyenne, Cheyenne. The second most important city is Laramie. And the third most important city is Casper. Okay, Casper, Wyoming. But it's a very small state in population. But it's an important state in area. In area, Wyoming is similar perhaps to Andalusia in Spain. So it's big. But there are very few people. A lot of mountains and a lot of cold prairie grass. Hierba de la pradera. Okay? And it's very important. Wyoming is the #1 area in the world, ojo, en el mundo entero, the #1 productor in the world in coal, carbón. Coal escrito, se pronuncia coal. There's a lot of coal in Wyoming. There's enough coal in Wyoming for all of the planet for 200 years. But there are no people, very few people. So, Wyoming is the smallest state in area. And Alaska is in population. And Alaska is the second smallest state in population. But Alaska is the biggest state, or the largest state in area. What's the second biggest state in area? My state, Texas. I'm from Texas. What's the most important city in Texas? That's a difficult debate, in my opinion. Houston is the biggest city, or the most important city in Texas. In my opinion, what's the second most important city? The second most important city is Dallas. Now, what's the difference between Houston and Dallas? En español decís, ¿cuál es la diferencia? En inglés, ¿qué es la diferencia? What's the difference between Dallas and Houston? They are very different. Dallas is a financial center, a business center. Houston is an oil and cattle. Oil, petróleo, and cattle, ganado. But Dallas is financial, okay, basically. But the people are very similar. Dallas is a little smaller than Houston, but Dallas is the metroplex. And there are two cities, Dallas and Fort Worth. And together, those two cities, which are very close, like Oviedo and Gijón, they're very close. And together, they are bigger than Houston. So the metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth, is bigger than Houston and perhaps more important. I don't know. But what's the third biggest city? The third biggest city is San Antonio. Okay. And what's the fourth biggest city? The fourth biggest city. The fourth biggest city is Austin. Okay, now, what's the population of Texas? The population is 22 million people. 22 million. What's the population of Spain? The population of Spain is 45 million people. Fijaos, en español decís millones de personas o habitantes. En inglés decimos 22 millón habitantes. Million, the word million in English has the same treatment as the word thousand and hundred. For example, 200 people, 2,000 people, 2 million people. It's the same. 2 billion people. Do you understand? In Spanish, for some reason, you change it. You say, in Spanish, you say 200 personas, 200 people, 2,000 personas, 2,000 people. And then you change, you say 2 millions of people. I don't know why. In English, it's simpler. 200 people, 2,000 people, 2 million people. Okay, now in Texas, there are 22 million people. In Spain, there are 45 million people. In Texas, there are 180,000 square kilometers. 180,000, more or less, I don't remember. And in Spain, 130,000. Spain is smaller than Texas. Texas is bigger than Spain. But Spain is double Texas, 2 times bigger in population. But it's smaller in area, extensión. So the population, fijaos en la pronunciación, siempre pecáis aquí. The population density in Spain is more than double the population density in Texas. Okay? So, let's continue. What's the biggest state in the United States in population? Texas is the second biggest state in population. New York is the third biggest state in population. So, what's the biggest? Do you know? Think for a moment. What's the biggest state in the United States? Do you know, Claire? No? The camera lady, the director of this program, doesn't know. Así que that's a consolation for you. But you have an expression, right? Consuelo de muchos, no sé qué, no sé cuánto. All right. Mal de muchos? All right. The biggest state in the United States in population is California. Okay? There are 33 million people, more or less, esto de ojo, people in California. What's the biggest city in California? Well, the biggest city is Los Angeles. Los Angeles is the second biggest city in the United States. The biggest is New York City. But the second biggest is Los Angeles, about 9 million people. What's the second biggest city in California? The second biggest is San Francisco. You know San Francisco. I left my heart in San Francisco. It's a very beautiful song. What's the third biggest state in California? State, ¿qué digo yo? What's the third biggest city in California? You don't know. Come on, you guys. After this class, open an atlas. Ohio, Alaska, Texas, Wyoming, California. That's only 5 of the 50 states. The third biggest city in California is San Diego. And San Diego is located situado. We say localizado, ubicado. San Diego is located in the south of California, very close, next to the border with Mexico. And when you cross the border, you're in Tijuana. Okay, that's Mexico. And the third biggest city, and a very important city, is San Diego. And the population is about 1.5 million. 1,500,000, decís. And we can say in English, 1.5 million. A million, normally we say or 1 million and a half. Y una mitad. Or 1.5, yendo a lo decimal. 1.5 million people. 1.5 million, 1,5 millones, pero en inglés millón. 1,5 mil personas, 1,5 millones. 1.5 million people. And the fourth biggest city is the capital. What's the capital of California? Do you know? Claire, do you know? No? Don't worry. You're in the same boat. You don't know. Ignorance, you need to gain culture. The capital of California is the place where Mr. Schwarzenegger lives. Where does he live? He lives in Sacramento. Sacramento, California is the fourth biggest city in California, and it's the most important city for political reasons. Okay, and Mr. Schwarzenegger lives in Sacramento, and Sacramento is about 1 hour northeast, al noroeste, from San Francisco. So San Francisco is a bit in the central northern part of California. Okay, and the population, de nuevo. The population of Sacramento is 1 million people. What's the smallest state in the United States? Well, the smallest state in population is Wyoming. Where is Wyoming? Is it near Colorado or near Virginia? Do you know? Well, that's part of your homework for the next class, is to tell me if Wyoming is next to, al ladito, next to, no near, cercano, pero pegado a, next to Colorado or next to Virginia. You tell me in the next class. So you need to consult your atlas. So what's the smallest state in area? The smallest state in the United States in area. Os doy una pista. Huh? Shall I give you a hint? The smallest state in the United States is one of the original 13 English colonies before the creation of the United States. And would you like a second hint? The name of the state contains 2 words, not one. So Connecticut is not the smallest. Massachusetts is not the smallest because it's only 1 word. New York has 2 words. New Jersey has 2 words. Could the smallest state in area be New Jersey? Georgia is only 1 word. South Carolina is 2. North Carolina is 2 words. Virginia is 1. Pennsylvania is 1. Well, what do you think? What's the smallest state in area? Well, I'll give you a third hint. Os daré una tercera pista. The capital of this state, the smallest state, is called Providence. Providencia. Do you know, Claire? No? Rhode Island. Have you ever heard of Rhode Island? Rhode Island, la isla del Señor Rodas or something. Rhode Island. Rhode Island is the smallest state in the United States. And Rhode Island probably is similar in area to the community of Madrid or the province of Barcelona. It's very small. But it's very important because there's a lot of business and industry and financial activity in Rhode Island. So it's small but strong, okay? And so Rhode Island is the smallest state. Alaska in area. Alaska is the biggest state in area. Wyoming is the smallest state in population. California is the biggest state in population. Okay? And the richest state and the poorest state? Difficult. California is the richest state, sin duda. without a doubt, California is the richest. And the poorest? I don't know. Two possibilities two possibilities. Mississippi or Alabama. Okay, but these states are not poor. These states are less rich than the others, okay? Because the income per capita, los ingresos, renta per capita, the income per capita is good in Mississippi and Alabama, but less than the rest. Okay, we have covered California, 6 or 7 states only of the 50. Are you interested in continuing? Well, if you tell me you're interested, I will continue teaching classes about American geography and demographics and English, okay? See you soon. Bye-bye. Hello? Excuse me just a second. Okay. Ready. United States. In a previous class, a few weeks ago, or maybe last week, you and I were talking about the United States, and we established some important statistics, interesting things. We talked about Ohio. Do you remember? Ohio, the 4 most important cities are, in my opinion, in the following order: Cleveland, Cincinnati, Toledo, and Columbus. Don't say that to people who are from Columbus. They'll kill me. Okay? But Columbus is, of course, the capital of the state. But for me, it's the 4th most important city. And in California, it's similar. The 4 most important cities in this order are Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego, and Sacramento. Now, Sacramento is the capital, where Mr. Schwarzenegger lives, but it's the 4th most important city. Texas. What are the 4 most important cities? In the following order, in my opinion. Okay? Houston is the most important. The 2nd most important is Dallas. The 3rd most important city is San Antonio. And the 4th most important city is Austin. Austin is the capital. It's the 4th most important city. Florida. What's the most important city in Florida? Well, clearly, the most important city is Miami. Okay. What's the 2nd most important city? Probably today, the 2nd most important city is Tampa. You've heard of Tampa, Florida. The 3rd most important city is Orlando. And the 4th most important city is Tallahassee. Tallahassee is the capital. But maybe people from Jacksonville, Florida will cut off my head. Cut my head? No, es un corte. Cut off, goodbye head. Okay, so normally, this is interesting. In the United States, the normal policy, política normal, is to locate the political and administrative center in a less important city. Okay? Why? Because usually politicians and leaders, influential people, gente influyente, decimos en inglés influencial, influential people prefer to separate the industrial, financial, or commercial activities from the political and administrative activities. Because if you put them together, the possibility of corruption is greater. Because the permits, the licenses, authorization, approval normally is from the public administration for the private activity. If you put them together in the same city, like in Spain, all right, the possibility of corruption is a little greater, es mayor, greater. So, usually in the United States, the 2 activities are separate. Industrial, financial, commercial, in big cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Diego. Public, Sacramento. Texas, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. Political, Austin. Okay. New York City, very important, financially, industrially, in every way. The capital, Albany. Okay. Michigan, Detroit. All the cars, okay, Detroit. The capital, Lansing. Okay, Ohio, Cleveland, very important. Cincinnati, very important. Toledo, very important. The capital, Columbus. And in the United States, New York, Los Angeles, Houston, Detroit, Philadelphia, Miami. Very important cities, New Orleans, Dallas, Denver, Colorado, okay, St. Louis, many important cities. The capital, Washington. Washington's not an important city, financially, commercially, or industrially. It's nothing. It's a nobody city, but it's the center of government and the center of public administration and public policy. Política pública, las políticas de administración pública, public policy. Okay, so in the last class about the United States, we established many things. Number one, Alaska is the biggest state in area. Texas is the second biggest state in area. Rhode Island is the smallest state in area. California is the biggest state in population. Wyoming is the smallest state in population. Texas is the second biggest state in population with 22 million people. All right? And Alaska is the second smallest state in population after Wyoming. Okay? Now, the richest state is California. The poorest state, I think, is Mississippi. The most beautiful state is an interesting debate. Probably California, if you include everything. Because in California, you have beautiful coast with cliffs, acantilados, very high. You have very beautiful beaches. You have trees bigger than this room that go up 100 meters. Okay? You have beautiful mountains. The highest mountain in the continental United States, excluyo Alaska aquí, which is not continental. The highest mountain in the continental United States is in California. And the most interesting, some of the most interesting deserts, desiertos, in the United States are in California. Death Valley, la Valle de la Muerte. If you're driving your car from Las Vegas to Los Angeles and you cross the Death Valley and your car breaks down, kaput. Good luck. Okay? Death Valley, California. But Massachusetts is beautiful. Texas is beautiful. Kansas, all of the states in the United States are beautiful. Like in Spain. What province in Spain, in your opinion, is the most beautiful? Asturias? The Basque Country? What region? Galicia? Valencia? Teruel? It's very difficult because all the provinces in Spain are beautiful and all the states in the United States are very, very pretty. Okay, what's the most important state in the United States in industry? Probably Pennsylvania is the most important state in industry. What are the two most important cities in Pennsylvania? Come on. Tell me, Claire, you don't know. The biggest city in Pennsylvania is Philadelphia. And probably Philadelphia is the most important city in Pennsylvania. What's the second most important city in Pennsylvania? Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is very important for steel, acero, steel. The steel industry is very important in Pittsburgh, similar to Bilbao in Spain, or Avilés in Asturias. It's very important, okay? But interesting, what's the capital of Pennsylvania? It's not Philadelphia, and it's not Pittsburgh. The capital of Pennsylvania is Harrisburg, okay? Nobody knows Harrisburg, but it's the capital. So it's an important city from the administrative and governmental point of view. Okay, what's the most important state in the United States in finance? It's very clear, New York. Now, New York is a state and New York is a city. Now, New York City is part of New York State. But New York City is so big. For example, the population of New York City is about 10 million or 11 million people. And the population of New York State is perhaps 18 or 19 million people. So, similar to Argentina with Buenos Aires, New York City has a population that is more than half. Más que la mitad, more than half. Fijaos, la L de half, we don't pronounce. Half. The British say half. But still, the British usually don't say the L, okay? So the population of New York City is more than half the population of New York State. So New York City is the most important city in the United States in finance, lo cual hace, which makes New York State the most important. What's the most important state in agriculture? Agriculture. That's an interesting question. But probably, y me matan por decir esto, probably the most important state is California. All right. Typically, when you think of agriculture, you think of Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas. Kansas is the #1 state. Kansas is the most important state in the production of wheat, trigo. Iowa is the most important state in the production of corn, maíz. Illinois is the most important state in the production of soybeans or soya. The British say soya and the Americans say soybeans, soja, which is very important for animal feed. Okay, piensos. But California is the most important in wine, and California is the most important in fruits and vegetables. So perhaps California is the most important state in the United States in agriculture. Okay? And not an industry. Pennsylvania is, but it depends on your definition of industry. If you talk about heavy industry, heavy, industria pesada, okay? Pennsylvania is without a doubt, sin duda, the most important state. But if you include other sectors or other industries like cinematography, okay, or the tourism,